Hey guys, what's up? So the other day I posted a TikTok giving a few helpful tips if you want to pass your BSL exam. So if you want to pass your BSL exams, keep on watching. So, as you know, or may or may not know, I have completed 3 levels of BSL, level 1, level 2, level 3. And I passed all my exams, obviously. And I know that it can be very expensive, especially if you're paying for it and like you haven't got funding. So obviously you want to pass first time because it's going to be expensive to retake the exam. It's like 40 to 50 pounds per exam, and there's 3 exams per level, so that's like £150, 300, like £450 for 3 levels just to do exams, and obviously that's quite expensive. And so yeah, tips to pass first time. Let's get into it. Yeah, sorry about the lighting if it kind of keeps changing, it's au naturel. Anyways, so of course in level 1 it's the basics. You're learning most of the signs and it's the basics. So if you want to pass in level 1, the most important thing, which a lot, and I mean so many people fail on, even myself, like I failed my 103 exam when I first took it when I was 11, but then I retook it when I was like 12 or 13 and I passed, but that's irrelevant. So yeah, you want to make sure that your facial expressions are strong, and I mean like over the top, match the sign, like effort and energy put into it. That is what your facial expressions need to be, because it conveys a story. It's like the tone of the voice. So as you can hear, I can go really high and sound really excited, or I can go really low and sound really sad and depressed. But you don't have that in sign language because it's hand gestures. So your facial expression is the tone, essentially. So yeah, it's really important that you do that. The other thing is hand shapes. So the position that your hand is to make the sign, they have to be correct. They have to be correct and they have to be strong, because if you've got a weak, mumbly hand sign, then it's not clear to the examiner what you're saying and it doesn't make sense, and so you fail, because you might think that you're saying one thing and then signing something different and it doesn't match, all because your hand shape was weak. So please make sure that you have clear and strong hand shape. Now level 1 exams are all basically the same, they just have different topics, so quite easy. If you get one right, you usually got the others right, but level 103 is more about the facial expressions. If you don't have that, you fail. Now on to level 2. Level 2 is, for me, was fairly simple, but I know a lot of people in my class, they dropped out. That was really difficult, and I was the only person in my class that passed. So, receptive. It's fairly easy. It is what it says. Read the signs, check the box. If you don't understand a sign, they play it a couple of times, so you've got to try and like figure it out, but you should. Receptive, there's not a lot of tips I can give. However, 202 and 203 I can give you tips on. So my 202 was for, I did food and drink, and I had to explain my restaurant, what restaurant I went to, how I got there, who was there, and I had to include 5 finger spellings. So that means the ABCs, you need to include 5 different finger spellings. That could be names, that could be a place, it could be anything that you need to finger spell, like a name of a food or something like that. But there has to be at least 5, otherwise you fail. The other thing is, it has to also be 5 multi-channel. What that means is it's a sign that doesn't have a lip pattern sort of thing. So it could be like delicious, like it's a facial expression, and you don't say delicious, you say it's signs like that. So you need to have 5 of them as well, because it's part of the BSL culture and, well, part of the BSL language. So it's really essential that you sort of do that, because otherwise it's not BSL really. So obviously you can't pass if you're not doing BSL. The other thing is the structure. Now the structure is really complicated. It's not like English, and yeah, it's a bit complicated. So you have the question last, the topic first, and then like the in between. So it's like car, colour, what or so your car, you're talking about a car, you want to know what colour it is, so car, colour, what. The question is always last. So if you're going to a restaurant, you need to like figure out what you need to do, who orders what, and yeah, it is a long thing. My class, we wrote it down first and put it into BSL order, and yeah, sort of done it like that. Now that was a presentation. Now level 203, that is a conversation. So my one, we did travel and transport, like going on holiday basically. We had to have a conversation with our teacher about a holiday, and we had to plan it out. Like we had a few points. I'm gonna have to try and remember the points. We had a few points that we needed to have in our thing in order to pass. We have to ask at least 5 relevant questions. We have to have finger spelling, and we have to have a good conversation flow. So like it can't be like stuttery, like has to be flow, and it has to be smooth, because that's how a normal conversation goes. And by level 2, by the end of level 2, you can pretty much sign. So if you're still stuttering by the end of level 2, then chances are you're gonna fail your 203 exam. You need to be confident and smooth, which I know is difficult because it's a new language and everything, but practice is everything. Literally get as much practice in as you possibly can. Go to deaf communities and try and find deaf people to help you and communicate with, and use all of the skills that you have learned, because it is essential, literally essential. Okay, I'm gonna move on to like level 3 now. Level 3 for me was really, really, really difficult, and this is because initially I didn't have a teacher, so it was me and one other person, and we were trying to like learn how to sign, do the signature. So in sign language, there's 2 like companies sort of thing, like AQA, like you have in your GCSEs. It's 2. There's Signature and IBSL. Now Signature is what most people go with. It is the most used company. It is basically what everyone uses. However, when we finally found a teacher, like 4 or 5 months after we started learning, we finally found a teacher. She decided that we were to go with IBSL. Now I lived down in Hertfordshire and she lived up in Kent. And so she couldn't travel down to us. She didn't drive, so if she did drive? I think she drove, but she always got the train from where she lives down to us. So it was very difficult because it was mainly FaceTime that we had a lesson with, and so I struggled a lot, and it was a lot of concentration, and it was really difficult. But that is what stuck with me the most, everything that I got told off about, because I was so used to going to my deaf group and just chatting normally with all my friends, just how most deaf people chat, but it is not how you pass your exams. As much as it is really important that you learn the deaf culture and everything like that, it is not how you pass your exams, because you get lazy, you do lazy signs, and you do signs you're not supposed to, even though you got told you to blur. Just, it's annoying. So I always used to sign have and have and have. Do you have something? The sign have. But you're not allowed to sign that. That is not BSL. I don't know, that's SSC apparently, but always got told it was sign have, and then all of a sudden I'm not allowed, and and I wasn't allowed. I was like, oh yeah, you know, like when you're saying a conversation, yeah. No, I'm not allowed to do that. I have to use hey. And I can't go like that. I have to do 1 nod and 1 shake for a no. Wasn't allowed to do no either. I was like, what is this? Oh yeah, so with IBSL it's very different from Signature. Signature, 3 exams, that's that. In level 3 Signature you have your linguistics exam. I can't even say the word, linguistics, whatever. You know, you can kind of understand. I'll write it here. You have that exam, and then you have 2 other exams which I don't actually know because I didn't do it. I did IBSL. IBSL was like 20 exams, and it was like coursework, I don't even know, like I had a presentation thrown in there at some point. Basically I hated it with IBSL. It was so complicated, so unnecessary, and my teacher was like, yes, IBSL, it's great, I'm gonna use it all the time, it's great, and I was just like, no, it's really not. I wish I did Signature. Though yes, I would have struggled personally with the linguistics because I can sign, but the linguistics is a bit complicated, so that's fun. So if I want to do level 4, which I'm gonna go with signature and have to do all the linguistics, but it's really difficult. So yeah, if you want to do your level 3, I would recommend going with signature because IBSL is really confusing. It doesn't make sense, and it's not clear, and it's like it's not structured properly. Like you just do a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of this, whereas signature you do this for this bit and then you do this for this bit and then you do this for this bit and you need to do this, this and this for all of that. Whereas IBSL is like this and this and this and this, and you'll just chuck a bit of this and then chuck a bit of this. It's really this and that, if you can't tell, but it's really difficult. I didn't like it. So yeah, that's the only thing that I really have to say, and I don't even think this video was useful, but we love that. But if you would like some more like sort of help, or if you want more tips, like better tips than this, because it is like really difficult to sort of explain it. I can't really explain level 3 very well, other than what you can and can't do in order to pass your exams. Well, not what signs you can and can't do, because how I sign on here, on my TikTok videos, is technically a little bit mix of both, but mainly I try and sign how you pass your exam, so you can watch that and then you can go into your exam and go, oh yeah, sort of like this, and then it's not as confusing, because I went in from like having chats like, yeah, like lazy sort of signing, and then it's like I go into the exam and it's like shock. So that's how I try and sign. So if you want useful, like if you want visual explanations, watch any of my signing YouTube videos, watch any of my signing TikToks, and you will sort of see it. But a lot of people on TikTok, I have to say, sign in SSC, sometimes wrong sign and sometimes wrong hand shapes. And that's not always useful, I know, but you can trust me. I know it sounds like selfish, like, oh, the other people don't do it right. No, they do it correctly, don't get me wrong, they do it correctly. There's just the odd few signs that aren't exactly correct, and that's probably because they've learnt from the internet, per se. So I would always recommend going to an actual class. If you can't afford a class, it's fine, but just the only thing I say is don't claim that you can do it. It's always great to like say, oh, I know a little bit, but I've learned from this, so it might be wrong, so you can correct me if you meet a deaf person, but always be open to being corrected, because chances are you probably will. Always feel free to ask a deaf person or anyone what the sign is. Well, not anyone, like interpreters, deaf people, coders, soders, and everything like that. Feel free to ask them what the sign is for something, because that's how you learn. And always have an open mind. And don't worry about exams. If you worry about the exam, chances are you're gonna like over worry, and then you're gonna forget the signs. Just like structure out in your mind, like, this is what I need to do. I need to make sure I have all of this. I've written it down. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna go in there calm, collected, so that I can actually do well, because what a lot of people do is they go in and they panic and their hands are like shaking, and then they get really weak and mumbly, and you know, it's really nerve-wracking. I understand, I've been there, I've done all the exams, I know what it's like, trust me. So if you need any advice, like ever, you can message me on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know what other platforms, Twitter, even if you have Twitter. I'll put them in the description below, and if I can, I'll put them around here somewhere. But yeah, that is pretty much all my advice. I hope it was useful for you. But yeah, let me know what other videos you want me to do, whether you want me to do some more signing, some more talking, or what do you want me to do. Peace out.